everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Thief. This is obviously the new reboot of the classic Thief franchise. Stealth game, stealth action. I know whenever I say Thief is a stealth action game, people get bent out of shape because it's supposed to be stealth. Less action, more stealth. We'll talk about that as we get a little bit further in here. This is a copy that Square Enix was, gracious enough to send to me, and I've been playing for about 2 to 3 hours so far. It only says that I've got 25 minutes. That's due to a foible that I would like to talk about as we get a little bit further, but if I go to my saves here, you can see that I have one that's, closer to an hour and a half the way through the game. I'm playing the PC version, and I think that's all the stuff we have to talk about right off the bat here, except to say, obviously, full retail price game, and while there are things I like-ish about Thief, I've been noticing the divided kind of critical reception that this has gotten, and I think I very much fall on the side of people that are not necessarily thoroughly impressed. So we're going to load up here, and we're going to be on the first real mission. And I'm going to talk right off the bat about one of the things that I think is most kind of glaringly omitted from this game, and that's that there's no way... The game's structured in terms of, like, missions, or chapters as they call them. There's going to be a little bit of voice acting here, I think, but just disregard that for now. There's no way to repeat these chapters, except right at the very end. After you finish the chapter, it's like, would you like to repeat it? And I'm like, no, I want to move along in the story. I'll repeat it later, only to find out that, surprise, well, there's no way to do it in the menus. There is, if you find where the mission is in the city, which is a Herculean task all of itself, you can then repeat it. But basically, this led to me rebeating like the first half hour or so of the game, just so I could do a mission that I've already done. Because, with stealth games, there's a decent amount of trial and error here. So I don't want to, play on a mission that I have not done before, because I could just get caught 1,000 times. So Thief, the way it basically works, I should point out I'm using the Xbox 360 controller here. We play as Garrett. Garrett is a thief, and there is some shady supernatural business going on. Basically, you had a pseudo-partner. She was killed in some kind of weird summoning ritual. And now you're doing jobs, but you're also trying to, figure out what's going on. Because the city is now afflicted with this disease, and, you're trying to get to the bottom of it in many ways. So we're going to try to do some thiefy stuff here. One of the things that people were most concerned about with the Thief reboot, and I think one of the things that actually... It's the thing that people should not have been concerned about, is the idea that this new Thief game is going to be way too heavy on the action and not heavy enough on the thieving aspects of the game. And to be honest with you, that's one of the things I think the game does very well. Combat in the game is bad, and in a weird way that's almost... Oh, did they see me? No. In a weird way that's almost a very good thing, because it really, really incentivizes not entering into combat. Okay, like, I'm just gonna load that save there. It does mean that there's a lot of trial and error, especially if you don't want to fight people. You can fight them, and in a way you can build your character to fight them, but I would kind of recommend against it. And it's more fun when you're just kind of sneaking around people as well. Of course, we have an arsenal of tools. I don't have that many. If I look at my inventory right now, I've got fire arrows, water arrows, rope arrows, and blunt arrows. Blunt arrows are basically to hit switches from a distance, so you can hit like a light switch, for example. Water arrows will put out torches and fires, and, fire arrows will be things that people will not want to get hit in the face with, and rope arrows are something that we can use to aid us in our platforming. So I've already done this chapter. Our mission right now is basically to steal a ring from a man who is already dead, so we're basically breaking into this morgue here, and I'm gonna see if we can't succeed. So I've done this many a time here, and I think what my course of action is going to be... Again, trial and error plays a big role in this. Oh, we don't want fire arrows. We want water arrows. 1 second. There we go. Let's fire this over here and put this fire out. Okay, and then they're going to be like, hey, what the heck's going on here? And instead of dealing with them, I am... Oh, that didn't work. I am just going to go from a distance here and move around. So they're about to light this one again, which actually scares the shit out of me, because I may get discovered here. But I think if I just swoop out of the way as quickly as possible, that's good. Okay. So I may be able to hack in... Well, not hack, but lockpick this door and then finish up. But I think what I'm going to do first is actually just throw this bottle. And by throwing this bottle, that'll distract them one last time. And then I should be able to get away for good. So we'll just toss that over there. And they'll go look over there, and they are getting, we switched to that weird, like, kind of Matrix-y soundtrack thing, which is going on, which is one of the things I really dislike about the game. Anytime, oh god, pick the lock, please. Anytime people get alerted, it plays like this weird, I don't even know what you would call it, like almost like a Prodigy-style bass line or something going on in the background. Like you'd hear at a rave scene, in like an industrial rave scene in a movie from the early 2000s. And I think it really throws off the atmosphere, but... Anyway, that's a pretty good example of how Thief works in many ways. It's kind of like a puzzle box. That was a microcosm of the things that happen as we get a little bit later into the game. I really think it's got some weirdly... I thought this is where I'm supposed to be, but maybe I was actually incorrect there. It's got some weirdly, like, thematically dissonant elements. I don't care about ludonarrative dissonance or something in a game like this, or, you know, other buzzwords that I'd be using to make myself sound smart. It just seems like the music is a ill fit to me. Let's move on here. This chapter should be about, you know, maybe half an hour long, so we're going to see multiple things going on. And there's some supernatural elements that happen in Thief, and, you know, we saw a little bit of it there. There is also, by the way, focus power, and what focus power is if I hit the Y button, it basically illuminates all the paths I can take. And, you know, I'm pretty bad when it comes to games like this, and particularly if you watch a lot of my videos, I'm pretty bad at finding out routes to go. So I actually appreciate having this focus energy, and I understand how some people might consider it kind of, you know, a little bit of a hand-holdy type, pseudo-cheating type thing. I disagree. Mostly I just find that I don't spend as much time looking for handholds when I use it. That being said, you can use focus energy for other stuff like, you know, during combat, there's a perk, basically, that you can get that allows you to one-hit knock out your enemies, and I think that's a little, you know, cheaty in a game like this. But the game does give you the opportunity to play via multiple playstyles, although playing it stealthily and non-aggressively is also, you know, the most satisfying way to play it, I think, if it's at all possible. So, basically, we're sneaking our way into what is a morgue, and I think it's a morgue that is basically made up of an old meat-packing plant, or made out of an old meat-packing plant, and basically the city has been afflicted by this terrible disease ever since that supernatural event that happened at the start of the game, so lots of people are dying, so they need to be kind of, like, more industrially processed. If you're trying to think of, like, what aesthetic or era this game shoots for, it's more along the lines, I should say, of, like, Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs. Like, the game takes place in, you know, roughly the same kind of era of the industrialization of what appears to be England here, basically. Let's talk about the thieving aspects of the game, shall we? Thief is a game that, true to form, is, you know, rife with looting, and there's two different kinds. There's, like, here, we're gonna get a good example here. That's actually just a health item, but we should find, like, some trinkets here that maybe we can steal, and they all glow on the screen, so we can, you know, steal basically an ashtray, and that'll give us a little bit of gold. The gold is used, I thought maybe I could sneak through there. Oh, maybe I can. The gold is used to upgrade yourself, basically. So it's got kind of like a pseudo-RPG style upgrade system. Oh, this might be expensive. Was that 30 gold? I couldn't see. 6 gold, that's all right. I don't know if there's any. Oh, there's like a lockbox up here, or a chest. Let's see what's in there. Magnifying glass and a gear. These should be worth, you know, maybe 16 combined. 21 combined. That's pretty good. So there's a lot of looting like this. This is the primary type of, like, thieving you get in the game, and to be honest with you, a lot of people have told me that this was in the earlier games, and it was an integral part of the earlier games. That's fine. I think it's kind of tiresome. I think, you know, walking around and just looking for things that glow, and then pressing the X button, and then Garrett's like, I'll take this, yep, I'll take a coin purse, and it gets really silly when you, like, open a drawer, and there's, like, a bunch of forks in it, and then Garrett just steals them all, or you steal them all, because you're in control of it. And you're just like, dude, you don't need to... You're about to steal, like, a jeweled mask worth a F-ton of money in this era. I don't know if you necessarily need to be filling your pockets with forks. And you haven't even seen it become tiresome yet. You know, when you find an area that has, like, 12 items just lying on the ground, that is where it becomes tiresome. There's nothing else to loot on this guy. Because you just, like, walk over to it, press X, and every time it's not like an instant old-school FPS mechanic where you just, like, instantly put stuff in your inventory. Garrett reaches out every time and grabs it every time, and it's kind of annoying. But some people are going to be into that if you're the kind of person who is not perturbed by, like, looting mechanics in a game like Diablo 3, for example, which is what... honestly, I find this most similar to from, like, a how looting works kind of standpoint. Then you might be okay with it. But I find myself really... Oh, I'm an idiot. Well, whatever, we'll beat him up, and maybe we'll be able to beat him up before his friends get here. Maybe not, though. So we're gonna knock him out. That's how combat works. Combat's... There's not much to say. I'm gonna... Did anyone else discover me here? Okay, I guess they didn't see me. I have a couple of points that I wanted to finish. Let's just loot this guy first, and then we'll move on. I didn't want to get involved in that combat, but I also don't want to do, like, 25, you know, saves and reloads here unless I'm playing off camera. The combat, basically, if someone gets alerted, it's a one-button combat. You just use right bumper, and you basically bash them in the face with your blackjack/claw type thing. The combat's bad, and I mentioned this, but I think it's also kind of good that it's bad, if that makes sense, because it really makes it so combat is not incentivized at all. That being said, I don't want Garrett to be doing, like, backflips and, parrying and riposting and then stabbing them through the chest, because that would make it like Assassin's Creed, which is a fine game, but it also makes it, where combat is not so much of a negative. That being said, I think there could have maybe been a better way. I don't know. I'm playing on normal difficulty. Maybe on higher difficulty levels it actually becomes more of a challenge. But it's a little bit cumbersome, but maybe it's cumbersome by design, and maybe that's actually a good thing depending on your mindset. So see, like, there's some stuff down there. I'm not going to pick it up, though. I'm just going to get on this meat hook, and we'll kind of move throughout the level. Now, the other kind of heisting, and this is a point that I started like a few minutes ago, the other kind of heisting is basically like your mission objective. You're stealing the Mona Lisa. You're stealing this ring from this guy. I don't know if you actually steal the Mona Lisa, by the way. But you're stealing like a big rule or a big ruby or a jeweled mask or something like that. Those are the big heists, and those are way more satisfying. It's kind of like a weirdly psychological thing where I'm so tired of just like grabbing pens off of desks and being like, there's 4 gold, there's 4 gold. But if it requires me to like open a safe or like a glass case or something like that, I'm like, fuck yeah, that feels great. So yeah, basically, I kind of find the high order goals, we're just going to drop off the meat hook here, otherwise this guy's going to find us. The higher order goals I find really good, but kind of like the monotonous, or I shouldn't call it monotonous without expressing it, it's my opinion, but the endless looting like I'm doing right here is, in my opinion, kind of monotonous. And additionally, some people were like, well, if you don't want to, grab all that stuff, then just don't grab all that stuff. And there is something to be said for that, but there are, incentives to grabbing all the stuff, because this gold does tie into the RPG mechanic of the game and like the upgrade system of the game. So, unfortunately, I can't really just choose to ignore it 100%. Watch this, though. I'm going to try to do something cool here, because there is occasionally the opportunity to do cool things in Thief. The control system with the radial wheel doesn't work 100%, so we're going to just turn off that light switch. And then this guy up here at the top, I can turn my map off, by the way, but this guy up here at the top is going to be all confused, and then we can just come up. We could sneak by him, but let's make sure he doesn't come back, and we'll just knock him out. It's kind of a cheap way to do things. I much prefer to do things in kind of the stealthy way, and just leave people alive, because these guys haven't necessarily done anything wrong. What is this, a pail I can take? Oh, it's a cup that I can throw to distract people. That makes sense. But, this is also one way to handle it to make sure that we don't run into problems later. Scissors? Yep, we're going to sell those scissors for 3 gold, naturally. Let's continue moving on here. So, there are some other foibles I want to mention. Let's talk about the audio-visual aspects of Thief. I am playing on 720p windowed mode, so if you're wondering why things don't necessarily look super crisp, that's one reason. But to be honest with you, the game has had a very consistent frame rate for me on a machine that is now a couple of years old, although it was basically state-of-the-art when it was built. And of course, I'm talking exclusively about the PC version here. I've heard some not so fantastic things about the 360 version of the game, but I also have a PS4 copy of the game that maybe I'll check out myself as well. But the game looks pretty good. The textures look fine. Certainly this is not looking like a last-gen console game or anything like that. The frame rate's good, especially when I'm not recording with fraps, so I might be struggling a little bit here, but mostly it handles it pretty well. And apart from like the graininess that kind of you can see here, which I think is by design, I think it looks like a pretty good game overall. The sound is a bit of an issue. I already talked about the music and how I don't necessarily like the music so much. Looks like there's a path down there we can take. How do we get under the stairs, though? There are a lot of alternate paths that you can take in the game. I just don't know how to get to them all. And sometimes you do need special tools in order to get to them. But anyway, the sound, the music is one thing, and it's something I can overlook. But there is, like, seriously immersion-breaking levels of repeating dialogue over and over and over. If you have to, not only like repeating the same sections over and over, but also like, we should probably toss this. No, we'll just be fine to get in this door. Obviously you'd expect maybe if you just, I'm going to pause the game for a second because this is an important aspect and I want to finish this point, but if you keep dying or you keep getting caught and you want to repeat a section, then repeated dialogue is kind of forgivable. But there's often times when you're just like doing one stretch of the city over and over and people are just having the same conversation with themselves ad nauseum. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a specific example, but there'll be ones that are like, hey, do you want to go to the barrack later? And the guy's like, sure. And then, you do like turn a corner and then there's the same guards are like walking a patrol and they're trying to keep like, you know, the feeling of the city being alive. So they're having a conversation, and as you get closer, you can eavesdrop. Hey, do you want to go to the barrack later? Sure. And it's just over and over and over. And you hear the same conversations, like, not endlessly, but very, very frequently throughout the game. And it does become kind of tiresome. Just in general, the world feels a little bit less alive than the world in a game like Dishonored, for example. This guy's asleep, so I think I should be able to make it. Oh, he's not as asleep as I thought he was. Is there a light switch here? Oh, I totally should just hit this with an arrow instead, but this should be okay. Yeah, he's still sleeping. That's fine. Yeah, and I never really was super into stealth games, but that's kind of changed recently. I played 7 or 8 hours of Dishonored. I didn't finish the game, but I liked it a lot. We have to find a key here, by the way. Oh! It did the Matrix music. Why is that? We could knock this guy. Yeah, let's knock him out so he doesn't come back later. And he should have some... Oh, he doesn't have any gold to steal. Well, that sucks for him. All right, I wouldn't have killed him if I'd known that. Yeah, I played 7 to 8 hours of Dishonored. I played 60 hours. 60 hours of Splinter Cell Blacklist, and a lot of people disparage that game. Oh, god damn it. Yes, I know how to dodge attacks. Except for that one, apparently. A lot of people disparage that game without having even played it, but I think Splinter Cell Blacklist is one of the best stealth action games I've ever played in my entire life. And I did play that game once entirely through on just like a 100% standard stealth playthrough. Now, remember, I'm playing this on normal difficulty, so you should not be able to do what I'm doing and survive here if you're playing on a higher level difficulty. I really think that the combat... The way that they make combat kind of not great is okay. Oh my god. I completely should have saved because now, unfortunately, I have to go through this whole section again. I guess there wasn't that much. Let me load that. I was being hasty. I'll do the thing where I shoot the switches again. And in terms of like because the thing about Thief when I played it, and I didn't play very much of it when I was younger, but I did play Thief 1 for a little bit. That was like back in 1997 or something like that. So like 17 years ago. I was 9, 8, somewhere around that age. So it's been a while. Please don't shoot a fire arrow at this thing. There we go. It was all about having this cool arsenal of arrows, right? And that's kind of neat. But at the same time, I think games like Mark of the Ninja and Splinter Cell Blacklist do a little bit better at being like puzzle boxes where you have a number of gadgets that you can get through things. I don't find the gameplay that fantastic from like a, go-go Inspector Gadget style way. The sneaking works okay, but I don't think it's the best stealth game from a stealth standpoint that I've played. And I know that people are going to come up with a straw man argument for that and be like, oh, you're trying to play it too action-y, so you're used to games that are more action-y. This is why I've been, like, the way you're seeing me play now is the way that I've played off camera. If I get caught, basically, unless I can just run away, which I think is fine, then I will do my best to reload the save and then come back later and try to solve it in the way that I feel it's meant to be solved. So don't give me that. I've been giving Thief its due. Like the way that you would want to play it maybe if you were more of a stealth game player. Because, I don't like going through these games and just beating the crap out of everybody all the time. I think that's kind of a cheap way to do it. If you want to play a game like that, don't, play God of War or something like that, or DMC. Don't play Thief. But that being said, I have had a little bit of a less enjoyable time with Thief's stealth sections than with... the stealth sections in some other comparable games. Now, we need to steal a key off of this dude right here, basically. This is like the bald dude. Because he doesn't have a weapon, that's how you know he's the most powerful man in the room. What we can do, if we want to cheat a little bit, is turn on our focus level here. And we can hide in this thing, or we could just steal some cups. We can use those as throwables. Might not be the worst thing in the world. We can also platform up this thing. And that might actually make it easier to steal. So I think the way that I'm going to handle this is I'll take out my blunt arrows. And I'll shoot a blunt arrow over at this light switch. And that should make it feasible for me to sneak through here. And then this thing already glows blue even without focus on. It's just kind of like a passive ability. And then I should just be able to walk up behind this guy. Steal his key. And then... come back down here. And it's times like this when I feel like the Thief actually does a pretty good job of being a decent stealth action game. Oh, that guy totally has discovered me. Let's close this door, shall we? He might not have discovered me, but he's very alert. But by closing this door, I think we have basically made it so he won't show up again. So that was kind of cool, and I like solving puzzles in that fashion, but you know, I just find myself a little bit more mixed on this game than a lot of games that have kind of been in this genre recently. And I should point out, by the way, that if you're watching this video, you know, reviews have been out for a while. I would encourage you to watch other videos. I know Total Biscuit is a fairly big fan of this game, and I know there were some reviewers who were big fans of this game as well. And I know there were reviewers who kind of hewed more on where I am when it comes to the game as well. Overall, it's very unlikely that I will be finishing Thief in my off time, I think. I'm not having a great time with it. What it kind of makes me want to do is just play more Dishonored, to be honest with you, which I think is a game that I like a lot better. This is an example. This is a perfect example of, like, please just let me press the X button and take the forks instantly. You might be saying, oh, it's only a half-second animation. It adds up, man. When you're trying to take everything in the environment, it really, really adds up. So let's wait for this meat hook to come here, and we'll get on this. This is also a little bit tiresome. This is, you know, getting to be the point where it's a long video, but we still have a little bit more left before we actually finish the mission, and I'm okay showing off the whole mission because I do think that it gets stronger as it goes along here, and I don't want to necessarily write the game off unfairly. I do think this is the kind of game that, unless you're really, really into stealth games to the point where you can overlook a lot of concerns, a lot of kind of like mixed impressions maybe, or things that I have mixed impressions about, you're probably better off waiting for a sale or picking this up a little ways down the line. I don't think it's a wholly successful reboot. The story itself, I don't know. Okay, the paranormal elements apparently have been consistent in Thief since the first game. That's fine. I hate this attitude, by the way, and this is maybe the perfect time for me to go off on this tangent. But I hate this attitude where, like, I complain about something in Thief and people were like, oh, well, the old games were like that. That's okay, you know? You can still complain about it. Just because something was in the old games doesn't mean that's the way that I feel is the best way to do things. And that doesn't mean that the way that I feel is the best way to do things is actually the best way to do things. But I'll hold that for a second. But basically, I kind of wish there was just a pure stealing game. It doesn't have to be Thief, but a game that's just about, like, executing great heists. Don't tell me Payday the Heist is it, because it's, you know, with guns and stuff. But, like, doing it like a true master thief would be awesome. Anyway, I'll let them talk here.
General, sir.
There you are.
Hey, excuse me, sir.
This is the guy we're trying to get the ring off. I'm sorry, I don't want to break your immersion. Get back into it.
What did this body have on it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, I was just going to get another body when you came in and took over.
You know, I don't ask for much. Respect. A stiff drink. Gold. And for my men to do what they're fucking told.
Seems like kind of a dick move. Like, how could he expect that man to cut open the dude's stomach to find a ring? It just seems like a little bit silly to me. But anyway, that's the Thief Taker General. He's our big bad. One of our big bads, anyway. You know, in true kind of Victorian-ish era fashion, there's the big bad who's actually, like, physically capable. That's the Thief Taker General. And then there's the big bad who is, like, powerful in a governmental standpoint. And that is the Baron that we encounter. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that a fire arrow is probably incapable of,
General wanted that ring.
Can I actually, it was a little bit brazen there. But I'm gonna go ahead and guess that my fire arrow, or sorry, my water arrow probably is incapable of dousing that entire furnace out. Unfortunately, I kind of stuck to the wrong cover there. I'll take full blame for that. But this guy's getting, like, a little alerted to me, and that's okay. I'm using a function called swooping, by the way, that allows you to move very, very quickly between different kind of stealthy elements here. So we're just waiting until the furnace door is closed, and I'm going to swoop over here and open this window. Oh, so this is just looking. Okay, so we can see him over there. Where do I go in order to get in here? I think I have to go around this. Probably not up into the pile of coal.
I'm here with my hands on a dead man's.
Oh. Oh, hello. You seem to have discovered me there. I know how to dodge, game. I guess he attacked me through that wall, but that's okay. So we've got to find an alternate path here. I think we actually go over top. There's a lot of alternate pathing stuff in Thief. Sometimes I find it difficult to find my way to where I'm actually supposed to go, but the focus powers actually do help out a lot there. By the way, you can turn all that stuff off if you're worried about having like a pure stealth experience. You can turn the map on and off very easily as well in case that's something that bothers you. Doesn't bother me. It actually helps me keep my bearings, but that's okay. So I think we actually maybe want to go around here, like this way. I'm not 100% sure, though. You know, bear with me. There's a little bit of experimentation involved in this. Not all doors are openable, but this one certainly is. I think we'll just bash the brains out of this dude. Again, we could totally sneak by him. There's probably a light switch around here that we can use to turn off that. The whole inclusion of light switches I find weird, but I guess maybe this does take place at like the dawn of electrical lighting, or maybe there's a switch that controls like gas flow or something like that. Beats me, but you know, it works reasonably well. So I'm pretty sure we walk under this kind of catacomb type area here, and we're almost to the end of the mission. So if you're getting a little bit tired, please just stick around, because there is one more element of Thief that I haven't actually talked about. It's kind of like actual real puzzles, not just like stealth action puzzles. Is this not where this is where I started? I'm not happy with myself now. Yeah, it's actually real puzzles that you encounter, as opposed to like stealthy puzzles. We actually do have at least one puzzle in the game that is just... What the heck? I already did this. I should be able to figure it out. There's one puzzle in the game, at least maybe more, that is basically just, you know, rotate tiles and actually figure it out. And it works okay. It's a very easy puzzle, which is great for me. I'm alerting people to my presence because I'm sprinting down here. But that's okay, because I'm also tired of not being able to figure out where the heck I'm supposed to go. Is there like an upper path somewhere that I can take? You know, I could start knocking these dudes out one at a time. And that's okay. Is that a switch over there? I'm just turning on my focus powers. I think that is a switch. So we can probably use that switch to at least turn off the furnace. Oh, there's a climbing thing over there. That's probably what we want. Okay. So let's turn off the furnace. Well, it didn't turn off the furnace, did it? Maybe it just keeps the door permanently closed or something? That might be it. Alright, so let's just use this climbing thing over here. I should have known that. We saw that ages ago. When you're in their peripheral vision, it's very easy to sneak by them, by the way. For the most part, I'm fairly still bad at stealth games, but I haven't really had a problem sneaking by guards here, which should probably serve to show you that, at least on normal difficulty, it's pretty easy to still make your way in the world today just by sneaking around. Alright, so this is our puzzle to actually steal the ring. And we're just going to come over here. And basically what we've got to do with this puzzle is just rotate these tiles and try to find... well, to spoil it for you, we've got to basically make a circle in the center. And you can start to see it come together slowly here. One more turn should be able to make it happen. Well, one more, you know, cycle of turning. And there we go. So by making that kind of like dot in the center, we'll be able to open this up and then take the ring. But we're going to start by taking all these like gold coins on the side. And again, here you go. I hate that there's so many individual animations, but there's our ring theft there, so that's our big, you know, heist for this mission, basically. And I guess that's a clue for something that's going to happen later in the game, but I don't know. And then Daniel Day-Lewis pops in, and we just, you know, scripted, kind of have a fight with him and then kick him in the arm and barricade ourselves in here, and then we try to escape. This is our last thing here. I do want to finish the whole mission because it's important to kind of see how you are judged at the end of it. It works very similarly to Splinter Cell Blacklist, where there's like 3 different ways you can be judged. You can be like a ghost, which is, you know, not really aggravating anybody, like they barely know you're there. You can be an opportunist, which is like if, you know, you get the opportunity to do so, you maybe take as much loot as possible, or, you know, maybe take out some enemies. And then also there is I think it's called Predator. I can't remember though. Where basically that just means that you really hate these guards. So oh, there we go. I put out the torch. They noticed it like easily, but that's okay because I'm back in the shadows over here. And there is an element of this part coming up here that's really annoying, but hopefully because I did it so many times off camera, I'll be able to do it okay here. So mostly the reason I'm taking down these guards is to expedite the video at this point, because I know we're getting a little bit long here. It is possible to sneak by them, but also it's totally possible to just bash them in the back of the head if you find them, which I think is valid. You know, I don't think too many people are going to have a problem with these poppies. Give us extra focus power, by the way, which is that meter in the bottom left. We do have health. I haven't talked about that yet, but yeah, there is a health bar. Mostly how I die, because I reload my save most of the time that I aggro enemies. Mostly how I die is from falling, because sometimes it's kind of difficult to tell whether you're going to be able to make a jump or something like that. A little tiresome, but that's okay. All right, this is the part that's a little bit difficult here. The roof caves in as we move through here, and they're going to discover us basically as soon as we get in here. There's no way to do like a KO where you just like bash him through the window, I think. Hello. Oh, he discovered me. It's telling me how to dodge every single time, by the way, because of the fact that I have not actually saved, I think, after having aggroed an enemy in the game. They do have ranged weapons, but I'm just trying to run away right now, which is an absolutely valid tactic if you can manage to survive. We can take some actual HP here just by eating that right there. And this might be the end of the mission, actually. I think it is, because we can see the clock tower in the background, which is the vista they like to give you at the very end. So, you can see how I did on this mission. I got 200 gold just for finishing it. I played basically not as a ghost at all. That makes me kind of feel bad about myself. This is what I don't like, is that the thieving challenge is like lift all loot items, because it takes forever to do that. But that's Thief, basically. I don't necessarily know how long it is. I think it's a mixed bag. I think it's not necessarily the premier stealth game of the past couple of years. I think Dishonored is set in a similar era and does things a little bit better, and I think Splinter Cell Blacklist I like more as well, even though it's set in a different era and is, you know, pretty different in terms of its gameplay as well. But that's not to say Thief is terrible. It's just not necessarily something that I'm going to find myself going back to in my off time. If you liked what you saw, you might be interested in picking up the game, though. There will be a link to the Steam store page to pick it up, just to go over my kind of foibles with the game. Like minor looting, I find kind of tiresome. You might disagree. The voice acting sometimes and the amount of lines get repeated an awful lot. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about the combat, basically. Because it's weird to say that it's bad and that makes it good. But, you know, it's a mixed bag. If I had to give Thief a score on how I feel about it, and, you know, I would use all 10 numbers, I would probably give it a 6. I think it's maybe slightly above average, but there's my overall codified impressions. As always, thanks for watching. Again, if you want to pick up the game, go check it out on Steam. There's a link in the video description below. And, of course, you can like the video and subscribe if you want to show your support in some other ways and see more first impressions like this in the future. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.